Everybody turn to Numbers 16. We're going to be I'm going to be explaining Korah and his position today. I don't know if anybody here has read the story of Korah. You heard the story of Korah? Okay. Korah stirred up 220 elders of the Levites to stand against Moses and Aaron. And the reason being was because they wanted the fame and glory. They felt that Moses and Aaron was getting too much of it. And what? Well, 250 still yet. Anyway, the point of the story is the fact that we have two different sects of people in the earth that are Jacob and Israel. Jacob is trying to fight for Israel's position. All right. Something that has been given to Israel, promised to Israel, belongs to Israel, and Jacob is trying to steal it. All right. First of all, who are the promises made to? Were they made to Jacob or were they made to Israel? Were the covenants given to Jacob or were they given to Israel? The covenants were given to Israel. Okay? The promises were made with Israel. And most people don't understand that the covenants given to Abraham were given to Abraham through Israel. All right? Being the father of many nations, a lot of people don't bother to go back and check that out. He's not the father of all nations, just the father of many nations. All right? And 12 nations came out of Israel, out of Isaac's seed, and these are the ones that Paul was explaining in Romans how they are the elect. Okay, it is Israel or Isaac's seed, Israel, the 12 tribes of Israel that are the 144,000 elect. Okay, Jacob's seed, which were the 12 uncircumcised, which are the uncircumcised, they are not the seed of Abraham. They are not of Israel. They are another tribe that's at war with the true Israel, and always has been, always will be. All right? And if you go back, and I can explain this real simple, if you go back and read through the prophets and through the law, or I should say the books of the law, you'll find that there were 12 princes of both the house of Jacob and the house of Israel. There were members within Israel that were trying to fight with Israel. Members of Jacob that were warring with Jacob. All right. And the new covenant is an adoption of those Gentiles into the seed of Israel. And most people don't get what that means. Israel is Yahshua. All right. If you've been adopted by Israel, or by Yahshua, I should say, or I should say, if his blood bought and purchased you, then you are adopted into the seed of Israel, not the seed of Jacob. And many people have no idea that they have not been bought yet. Many are preaching, well, let me explain this. The 12 tribes of Jacob are preaching that just because of his sacrifice at the cross 2,000 years ago, your sins were bought and paid for, you're done, you don't have to do anything more. That's not scriptural. Those are the ones that are not bought and paid for. All right, only the 12 are bought and paid for. And if you go back and read in Revelation, it specifically states that only the 12 tribes of Israel, the elect, are the ones that were bought and paid for. All right, and how many of every tribe were counted? What's 12 times 12? Okay, so there was 12,000 in each tribe that were counted as his elect. Is everybody following? Now, I've heard so many people preach that, for one, Manasseh was cut off and Ephraim was accepted. Okay? Which is the reason why the tribe of Joseph is mentioned in the book of Revelation and not before that. Is everybody following? Except, they're no longer counted as Ephraim and Manasseh under Joseph. They'll be counted as Joseph in the end. All right. In the last days, if you go back to Ezekiel 37, in the last days, it's only the seed of Joseph that promotes Yahshua. That's why he said in Ezekiel 37, unite these two sticks together, because they are the seed of Joseph and Judah. All right. Can you check on them, please? Number 16, verse 1. Now Korah the son of Izhar, the son of Kohath, the son of Levi, and Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, the son of Peleth, sons of Reuben, took men. They rose up before Moses with certain of the children of Israel, 250 princes of the assembly, famous in the congregation, men of renown. In other words, men of fame. Okay? They have made themselves popular among the people. Now watch how this plays out, because you have the tribe of Jacob and the tribe of Israel standing side by side. All right? That would be like us here in Hammond, Keith, Moore, and Branson. We're standing side by side and nobody realizes it. All right? Now watch. And they gathered themselves together against Moses and against Aaron and said to them, you take too much upon you, seeing all the congregation are what? Were they holy? Obviously not, because they took 300 some thousand down in a pit with them. Is everybody following? In other words, what Korah and them were trying to say was, look, they've done enough. They worked out their own salvation. They're done. They're bought and paid for. They don't have to do nothing else. Watch this. Every one of them, and Yahweh is among them. Wherefore then lift you up yourselves above the congregation of Yahweh. Notice what they just said. Yahweh's among them. They have the Holy Spirit in them. Leave them alone. Watch this. And when Moses heard it, he fell upon his face, and he spake unto Korah and unto all his company, saying, even tomorrow Yahweh will show you Yahweh will show who are his, and who is holy. That would be kind of like us versus a couple of other people saying, look, who holds the authority? The Scripture or man? The Scripture holds it. That's all Moses is saying. Look, let's go back to Yahweh. Let's find out what Yahweh says about it. Let's find out what he wrote about in his word. All right, now watch. And will cause him to come near unto him, even him who he hath chosen will he cause to come near unto him. This do. Take your censers, Korah and all his company, and put fire therein, and put incense in them before Yahweh tomorrow. And it shall be that the man whom Yahweh doth choose, he shall be holy. You take too much upon you, you sons of Levi. Watch this, because the argument is the same on both sides. Is everybody seeing that? In other words, Levi is saying, look, Moses and Aaron, you're taking way too much upon you, too much glory. Let us have some of the fame.
He wasn't talking about responsibility. He was talking about being the boss, them being the boss.
Being famous, being the one known. All right, that's what the word known is famous or renowned. Now watch this. And Moses said unto Korah, Hear, I pray you, you sons of Levi, seemeth it but a small thing unto you that the Almighty of Israel has separated you from the congregation of Israel to bring you near to himself, to do the service of the tabernacle of Yahweh, to stand before the congregation and minister unto them. Can you take care of that, please? Somebody?
I told her to leave the door open and she won't come back.
I'm talking about the doll, too. Where's I at? Thank you. And he hath brought thee near to him, and all thy brethren the sons of Levi with thee, and seek you the priesthood also. For which cause both thou and all thy company are gathered together against Yahweh, and what is Aaron that you murmur against him? And Moses sent to call Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, which said, We will not come up. Okay, Yahweh commanded them to come up, and they refused. Now, I'm not saying this in pride. I'm not saying this in any of the such alike, okay? You remember I contacted Randy Shankel and Jeff.
Yeah.
And I said to come up for Passover. They refused. Notice they're not on the internet. They're not anywhere around. I don't know exactly what's happened to them. All right, now watch. Is it a small thing that thou hast brought us up out of the land that floweth milk and honey to kill us in the wilderness, except thou make thyself altogether a prince over us? Moreover, thou hast not brought us into the land that floweth milk and honey, or given us an inheritance of fields and vineyards. Wilt thou put out the eyes of these men? We will not come up. It's called defiance. All right. And Moses was very wroth and said unto Yahweh, Respect not thou their offering. I have not taken one ass from them, neither have I hurt one of them. I have not beat their ass. All right. And Moses said unto Korah, Be thou and all thy company before Yahweh, thou and they and Aaron tomorrow. And take every man his censer, and put incense in them, and bring ye before Yahweh every man his censer, 250 censers, thou also, and Aaron each of you his censer. And what a censer is, it's a fire pot. Okay? It was a pan, they call it a fire pan. You remember the old pans they used to stick in the old wood stoves to catch the ashes and all that? That's what those are. Each one had his own pan. Now watch. I'm going to show you something. And they took every man his censer and put fire in them, and laid incense thereon, and stood in the door of the tabernacle of the congregation with Moses and Aaron. And Korah gathered all the congregation against them. Did that just say all the congregation? Okay. Unto the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the glory of Yahweh appeared unto all the congregation. And Yahweh spake unto Moses and unto Aaron, saying, Separate yourselves from among this congregation, that I may consume them in a moment, or in an instant, the Hebrew says. And Yahweh spake unto Moses and Aaron, saying, I already read that. 22. And they fell upon their face and said, O Almighty, the Almighty of the spirits of all flesh, shall one man sin, and wilt thou be wroth with all the congregation? In other words, will you punish or judge one person or the whole congregation because of one person? All right, now watch. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the congregation, saying, Get you up from about the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan and Abiram. And Moses rose up and went unto Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Israel followed him. And he spake unto the congregation, saying, Depart, I pray you, from the tents of these wicked men, and touch nothing of theirs, lest you be consumed in all their sins. And this is where he said, Come out and be you separate. Touch not the unclean thing. Okay? And this is where I have a problem with, what's the word? Accepting prayer from other people. Because the incense that you offer, the prayers that you offer are an incense, according to Hebrews. Okay? So the prayers that you make, if you are not making them with the right heart, I'll tell you right now, don't pray for me. Because you'll be standing against me and who I serve. Alright, watch this. Where was that? 27. So they gat up from the tabernacle of Korah, Dathan and Abiram on every side. And Dathan and Abiram came out and stood in the door of their tents, and their wives and their sons and their children. And Moses said, Hereby you shall know that Yahweh has sent me to do all these works, for I have not done them of my own mind. Joshua said the exact same thing in the New Testament. It is not I that doeth the works, but Yahweh in me. Right? Okay. And there's a reason for that. How many know that the reason why Moses did not enter in the promised land? But what was the purpose? Bingo. Impatience. He was tired of being patient with them. Is everybody following? That's all it was. He was just tired of being patient with them. He'd spent his 40 years walking around the mountain with them, and they still didn't learn a cotton picking thing. All right, now watch this. You heard me, Ruth. Where was I at? 20. No, 29. If these men die the common death of all men, or if they be visited after the visitation of all men, then Yahweh hath not sent me. But if Yahweh make a new thing, did it just say a new thing? Let's check that out real quick. Verse 30. Actually, the word is bariah, and it means to create. If Yahweh make a new thing, or make a creation, and the earth open her mouth and swallow them up with all that appertain unto them, and they go down quick into the pit, then you shall understand that these men have provoked Yahweh. They have provoked Yahweh. And it came to pass as he had made an end of speaking all these words, that the ground clave asunder that was under them, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up, and their houses, and all the men that appeared unto Korah, or appertained unto Korah, and all their goods. They and all that appertained to them went down alive into the pit, and the earth closed up on them, and they perished from among the congregation. And as I was saying before, you have Jacob and Israel side by side. Korah and them were of Jacob. They were not of Israel. Moses and Aaron were of Israel. All right, case in point, what is Jacob? Okay, let's get a little bit more technical. When they were coming out of the womb, who held on to whose heel? Jacob held on to Esau's heel. Means he's a follower, not a leader. Is everybody following? Israel prevailed. He's a leader. You have 50,000, if not more, probably close to more to like 3 million, ministers in the earth who are followers. They are not leaders. So we're following. How do you know the difference? Everybody here should know the difference. What's the difference?
By your works.
Hmm?
By your works.
That's
How
it.
people feel about this. Everything's planned out for them, messages and everything.
What's the difference?
Keep trying.
It's real simple. They tickle ears. The followers like to tickle ears. They want to preach to you something that sounds good to their congregation because they're afraid that if they speak the wrong thing or if they speak authority, their congregation will get up and leave. Then they have nobody to follow. Is everybody following? So who are they literally following? They're following the money trail. Case in point, they're preaching the messages that the rich like to hear so that they can go after the riches. It's a corporation. That's what these big churches, these mega churches are. They're corporations. They have figured out how to wheel and deal to get the money to promote wealth. All right, and I can't tell you how many guys I've not talked to, but I have heard them make the same statement that the whole reason why they got into ministry was because they saw these guys prospering in these mega churches. They were down in the dumps. They didn't have, pardon the language, a pot to piss in. They had no money whatsoever. They had one vehicle to their name. They had 6 kids, 7 kids, 8 kids, whatever. They saw these guys prospering, and they weren't. So they got into ministry to make money. Your goal is in the wrong position. Your ministry is built on the wrong foundation. It's built on mammon. It's not built on the rock. Nobody here, and I'm saying this honest because there's going to be people coming, women that you're going to have to teach. Hopefully there's sons that I can teach, but there's going to be women coming that you're going to have to teach. And for a lack of better words, you're going to have the stones to be able to stand up to them. Does everybody follow what I'm saying? Just like, what was it, last week or the week before? Was it last week? Just like last week, okay? I was the only one that was getting picked at. I was the only one that was standing in the battle. And I understand you guys didn't know enough of the word to stand up. But that's what I'm talking about. You're going to have to get the stones. Lay them in place so you know how to defeat these people. How to not literally defeat, but overcome their mindset. The way they think. Because the way they think is natural. It's carnal. It's not founded on the rock.
I didn't say anything because I didn't want to
Yeah.
step on your authority.
Well, that's fine. Can you deal with them, please? The thing is, I'm glad it worked out the way it did because it allowed everybody here to see what we're going to be facing, and that's the reason why I didn't give the message, because 90% of the time that's what we're going to be doing is debating. You're going to have to learn how to debate. The word Paul even says, when your obedience is fulfilled, then it's going to be your time to debate with those that are disobedient. Okay? And the point being is, you can't debate with them if you don't know enough of the word. You can't show them their errors if you don't know enough of the word. And it cracks me up how many people say, "Oh, all I got to do is confess Jesus Christ and I'm saved." No, you do not. The word says that my people perish for lack of knowledge. What was salvation? Delivering from death.
Mm-hmm.
So if my people are perishing from lack of knowledge and salvation leads me or keeps me from dying, then obviously it's a knowledge. And if you don't have the right knowledge, it ain't going to work. Your salvation is pointless. Is everybody following? Watch this. Verse 33, they and all that appertained to them went down alive into the pit, and the earth closed upon them, and they perished from among the congregation. And all Israel, did it say all Jacob? All Israel that were round about them fled at the cry of them, for they said, let the earth swallow us, lest the earth swallow us up also. In other words, Israel, right then and there, had realized, wait a minute, I better turn around, get my butt in gear, or I'm going to get swallowed up too. Everybody following? Watch this. And there came out a fire from Yahweh and consumed the 250 men that offered incense. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, speak unto Eleazar, the son of Aaron, I'm tongue-tied today, the priest, that he take up the censers out of the burning, and scatter thou the fire yonder, for they are hallowed. The censers of these sinners against their own souls, let them take or make them broad plates for a covering of the altar, for they offered them before Yahweh. Therefore they are hallowed, and they shall be a sign unto the children of Israel. So they took all these fire pots, or whatever you call them, the fire pans, gathered them up out of the fire of the tribes of Jacob. Okay, what are the altars that they're using today? What are they offering?
It's still offering pans.
It's the offering pans. Is everybody following? Now watch this. Watch. What verse was that?
38. We just read 38.
Okay. And Eleazar the priest took the brazen censers, wherewith they that were burnt had offered, and they were made broad plates for a covering of the altar. In other words, they took them and connected them all together and made them for a covering. Yes, it would. Now watch this. To be a memorial, burned in your memory, for you to remember, unto the children of Israel, that no stranger, which is not of the seed of Aaron, if you got a marker or a pen, highlight that. No stranger, which is not of the seed of Aaron, come near to offer incense before Yahweh. Which is why I said, if somebody's going to pray for me, you better have your heart in place, in a right position. Because if you don't, you offer up the wrong incense, guess what's going to happen? Watch this. That he be not as Korah and as his company, as Yahweh said to him by the hand of Moses. Sorry. As Yahweh said to him by the hand of Moses. I was fixing to go on in the next verse. Hold on. Yeah. Go to Numbers 26. And I want you to see this because Korah, the word Korah, or I should say the name Korah, is Qorach in the Hebrew, Qorach, and it means to make one's self bald. I'll explain in a second. To make oneself bald. To bring shame upon oneself. In other words, if you were to shave your head, this is not shaved, by the way. If you were to shave your head, it was a shame for a man. Right. Well, he's not supposed to have the covering. Yahweh is our covering. But the point is, for a man to be shaved, what he's doing is dishonoring his head. He's cutting off the head. Is everybody following? Now, it's a shame if he has long hair also. So it's got to be just right in the middle. And if a woman be shaved, or the woman have her head shaved, she has to have a covering because she's dishonoring the head. Does everybody understand that? In other words, what you're trying to say is man is not inferior, or you are not, what's the word, subject to a man. And you notice why women today are starting to shave their heads. Lesbians are starting to shave their heads.
Yeah.
And it's a form of saying, oh, well, I'm not going to subject myself to a man or submit to a man. All right, now watch this. Numbers 26. Verse 9. And the sons of Eliab, Nemuel, Dathan, and Abiram. This is that Dathan and Abiram which were famous in the congregation, who strove against Moses and against Aaron in the company of Korah, when they strove against Yahweh. And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed them up together with Korah. When that company died, what time the fire devoured 250 men, and they became a sign. Did you see that? They became a sign. What is a sign? It's what?
Sometimes it's a warning.
It is a warning. It's a warning that we are not to let pride stand in the way. Notice they were famous among the congregation. You have Israel standing side by side Jacob, and guess who's more popular? Jacob. Why?
They say what they want to hear.
Okay, it's pride. That's all it is. It's pride. Now, how many know that we have a Korah and we have a Moses in each one of us? It's called the heart and the mind. All right, and there's a reason why I titled this message Cutting Off Korah, because the mind has to be shut down. That is the place and the seat of pride. I can take you back to Revelation. It says that's where Satan's seat is. Come on, Jane, you got another scripture. What was the place where his seat was?
Oneself, castle, and market. It's in the beast. That is the beast.
I'll explain here in a couple minutes. Watch this. Verse 11. Notwithstanding, the children of Korah died not.
I thought it said Qorach was famous.
The family did. The children did not. Jacob's seed did. Israel's seed did not. That's confusing, isn't it? All right. Let me explain. There are always a Jacob and an Israel in every family. Israel's always the minority. Always. There's always one or two out of the family, and that's it. That survives.
So Korah and them didn't really physically die?
No, they physically died. They're a sign.
Not just this year, the census for this time.
No, that was a memorial for the sign. Okay? Korah was Jacob. He was of the seed of Jacob. So we're following that. Jacob's seed went down in the hole. Israel did not. Is that making sense to anybody?
They did. They're the ones that were destroyed.
Okay. Korah's seed, children, did not. In other words, if the fire were to step in, let's say, More Life Church, Korah would get destroyed. Israel would not.
Depends whose God you serve, whose Yah you're serving.
Well, it depends on whose mighty one you're serving. That's the word you're looking for. All right, but the key is, who are you following? See, Korah was not following. Korah was trying to lead, and he didn't realize he was a follower.
So he didn't want to step back.
Nope.
He was supposed to be a follower.
He was supposed to be a leader,
Right.
but he wasn't mature enough yet.
Mm.
That's why it went to his head. Okay, now watch. And there's a reason why it's called going to your head, because that's where pride sits.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now watch. The sons of Simeon after their families of Nemuel, the family of the Nemuelites of Jamin, the family of the Jaminites of Jachin, the family of the Jachinites, of Zerah, the family of the Zarites, of Shaul, the family of the Shaulites. These are the family of the Simeonites, 22,200. The children of Gad after their families of Zephon, the family of the Zephonites, of Haggai, the family of the Haggites, of Shunah, the family of the Shumites. Anyway, it's going down through and explaining that these were the seed of Korah that lived. Okay? Now watch this. Numbers 27. Verse 1. Then came the daughters of Zelophehad, the son of Hepher, the son of Gilead, the son of Machir, the son of Manasseh, of the families of Manasseh, the son of Joseph. These are the names of his daughters, Mahlah, Noah, Hoglah, Milcah, and Tirzah. They stood before Moses and before Eleazar the priest, and before the princes and all the congregation, by the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, saying, Our father died in the wilderness. He was not in the company of them that gathered themselves together against Yahweh in the company of Korah, but died in his own sin and had no sons.
So they knew. That's why they died.
Right.
Because they didn't have the time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But he's saying, look, my son, or our father, had no seed. He had no son left. Okay? Now watch this. Why should the name of our father be done away from among his family, because he had no son? Give unto us, therefore, a possession among the brethren of our father. And Moses brought their cause before Yahweh. And Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, The daughters of Zelophehad speak right. Thou shalt surely give them a possession of an inheritance among their father's brethren, and thou shalt cause the inheritance of their father to pass unto them. And thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel, saying, If a man die and have no son, then you shall cause his inheritance to pass unto his daughter. Okay? For a better example, if something were to happen to me, the inheritance that I have is passed down to you guys. Okay? As Dad's inheritance was passed down to me. Is everybody following? Now, if there's a son in the group, he gets it.
Mm-hmm.
Is everybody following? Okay? Now watch. If he have no daughter, then he shall give his inheritance unto his brethren. And if he have no brethren, then you shall give his inheritance unto his father's brethren. And if his father have no brethren, then you shall give his inheritance unto his kinsman, that is next of his family, and he shall possess it. And it shall be unto the children of Israel a statute of judgment, as Yahweh commanded Moses. Now I want you to see this, because a lot of the rabbinical priests today preach that, well, the law never changes. All right? It does change, because he said right there, look, I will add a statute that if there be no son, the female can receive the inheritance. All right? You have women, well, look, I hate to say names, but I'm going to say it anyway. You have girls like, or women like Joyce Myers, who are married, who have husbands, yet standing behind a pulpit.
Yeah.
It's out of error. So we're following. The inheritance is supposed to go to the husband, not to the wife. And we were watching the movie John, the Gospel of John, what was it, night before last?
Yeah.
The night before last. And throughout the movie, okay, the book of John, it says nothing about Mary Magdalene being in the upper room or being among the disciples or anywhere around the disciples.
She wouldn't have been.
It says she followed him, but it doesn't say that she was one of the disciples. But through the movie, it shows her up in the Last Supper, and it shows her going out to pray with him, and it shows her doing. These are all gospel or Gnostic gospels that they're taking these things from. All right, the Gnostic gospels were the ones that taught that Mary was his wife, and that he did things with Mary, and he did this and he did that. That's a total,
Mason.
yeah, a total corruption of the Scripture.
Which they all do.
Because nowhere is she present in the upper room when they were baptized with fire.
The whole movie was just full of lies. Like,
Oh yeah, it was completely twisted. And they weren't even using the right version of the text. They were adding things saying, "Oh well, the Son of God came down and he was God in the flesh." And I'm like, it doesn't say that in the Word, nowhere. But anyway, watch this. So he made a statute, opening the doorway for women if there be no seed. All right, now watch this. Where was I at? 27? Go to Psalm 105. Did I say Psalm 105?
no, sorry, this was the same.
Okay. Verse 8. He hath remembered his covenant. How long? Does that say forever?
No.
I'm going to show you a little key here. It says forever, does it not? Now watch. The word which he commanded to 1,000 generations. So how long is that word? It says it's 1,000 generations, doesn't it?
Yeah, generation 70 years. Or 1,000 generations.
It would be 70,000 years.
Hmm?
It would be 70,000 years.
70,000 years. So we're following that. Now watch this. Which covenant he made with Abraham. Now he made a covenant with Abraham, did he not? I want you to highlight these words because each one of these words means something. He made a covenant with Abraham. And his oath unto Isaac. What was the oath unto Isaac? How about thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek? That was what was given, the covenant or the oath that was given to Isaac. What was Isaac's promise? Does everybody remember? Remember, Abraham had 3 covenants. To Abraham was given the stars of heaven. Jacob had what? The sand of the sea. So what did Isaac have? Nope. Dust of the earth. Okay. What was the dust of the earth?
I wasn't able to count it.
Okay. What was the symbolism of the dust of the earth? I want you to write these down. Number 1, resurrection from the dead. Number 2, dominion over man. That's why Joshua said, don't even fear about the world. I've already overcome the world. All right, now watch this. So to Isaac's seed, we have the covenant of resurrection of the dead, We will be resurrected from the dead, and we will be given power over the dust of the earth. Is everybody following that? Now watch. And confirmed, he did what?
Confirmed.
What is the difference in an oath, a covenant, and a confirmation?
An oath, it's the beginning, you're swearing to keep the covenant.
Okay, first of all, the covenant is a contract. Okay, it's a contract. In other words, if I was going to make a deal, let's say with Jane, that I will bless her seed forever, I'm giving her the covenant. All right. Now, to her seed is the oath sworn. Is everybody following it? Is everybody following that? To her seed is the oath sworn. Her grandchildren will confirm it.
Skips it.
So basically, it's come to pass.
It means it's come to pass. It means that Jacob is the fulfillment of that oath. Is everybody following? Now watch this. Confirm the same unto Jacob for what?
Law.
Oh, wait a minute. But how come Jacob is preaching against the law? Is anybody catching that? Why would they preach against the law when that was their confirmation? Because they're not really Jacob.
Really Qorach.
That's exactly it. They are Korah. They oppose us at every corner. You can go on these groups, and it cracks me up. You can go on these groups on Facebook, and you can watch one person come in and say, look, nowhere in the word is a state the law's been done away with. You will find Korah all over the place. They will swarm and surround you and just throw out all kinds of scriptures that pertain nothing to throwing out the law. I've watched it happen. I've been booted from about 60-some pages now. All right, watch this. Confirm the same unto Jacob for a law, to Israel an everlasting covenant. Is everybody following it? In other words, Jacob's under the law. Israel, he's already fulfilled the covenant. He's already obeyed the law. He doesn't have to keep obeying it or being told what it is because he's not broken it. So we're following. Now watch. Saying, unto thee will I give the land of Canaan, the lot of your inheritance. When they were but a few men in number, I want you to highlight that. When they were but a few men in number. When they were but a few men in number. How many people we have here? 6. When they were but a few men in number. Watch. Yea, very few. And what in it?
The strangers.
Strangers in what?
The window.
No. Strangers in what?
No.
The covenant. Hello? Watch this. They went from one Gentile to another. Do you mean there's more than one type of Gentile?
Churches.
You have a heathen and a Gentile. You have a physical Gentile versus a spiritual Gentile.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference in an apios and a heathen? Before you answer, it's one minute little thing. No. An apios will sit there and run their mouth nonstop. A Gentile will shut it and listen. That's the difference. That's the only difference. Who here, well, everybody here has had a baby, or been around one at least. I haven't had a baby. Been around one. Few. Anyway, who here has been around a baby? They cry nonstop. They're constantly gabbing. No idea what the crap they're saying. No control, no self-control.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get up to somebody who's of the Gentile age, which is what? 2 to 4, 2 to 5. And it changes, doesn't it? Now they start listening. Not all the time, but they're more attentive now. They know if they do wrong, mommy and daddy's going to bring the belt.
You understand
Okay, they understand discipline more.
Mm-hmm.
They understand why they have to be disciplined. And watch this. They went from one nation to another, from one kingdom to another people. We went from the kingdom of Satan to a people. We went from a herd of goats, cattle, to a people. Following? Watch. He suffered no man to do them wrong or allowed. He allowed no man to do them wrong. Yes, he reproved kings for their sakes. What is a king? It's someone who's in a place of rule or rulership. Who's in a place of rulership for you? Or I should say, who was in a place of rulership over you? You know, Satan's been rebuked on our behalf many, many times. So have his people. Watch this. Saying, touch not mine anointed. Do my prophets no harm. Something that the Gentiles today have never learned. Why? Because they're Sinapioses. They are Esau's, or Edomites, trying to be Jacob.
They've never been taught that respect either.
No. And they won't as long as their mouth is running. There you go. If your mouth's opening, your ears aren't listening. Or I should say if your mouth's running. It's kind of like water. What happens when you turn the faucet on? It makes you have to go pee, doesn't it? I'm serious. If somebody's mouth's running, it makes you want to run your mouth, doesn't it? Think about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. If somebody's mouth is constantly going, it makes you just want to say, shut up. Why don't you shut up and listen to somebody else talk for a while? Watch. Moreover, he called for a famine upon the land. He brake the whole staff of bread. Well, wait a minute. Whoa. He broke the whole staff of bread. What's that mean? Was that a punishment?
When we break the bread to bless it.
Wrong breaking. Watch this. I want you to watch this closely because we eat the bread. All right, watch this. He called for a famine upon the land. He brake the whole staff of bread. What is a staff? Ministers.
The staff is the minister.
A staff is a minister.
Yeah.
I am a shepherd. I am a staff. I am a rod. That's my job, is to bring rule, to guide, to discipline. So he broke the whole staff of bread. That means he broke it in half. Pay attention. Okay? What is the plague going through the churches today?
Talking about sickness.
Their bread is broken in half. They're not getting the full bread. They're only getting the New Testament. They're not getting the Old. You following? You can't break it in half. Hello? Is that their doing or is that his doing? It's his doing. It is their judgment. It's their famine, their pestilence. Watch this, because this is how he works. He said, I will turn your own judgment against your own head, your own doings on your own head. You don't want the law? I won't give you the law.
Even the day is good.
I used to be like, people, you need to get back to the law. And I've heard so many people say, no, we don't. I'm free with the blood of Jesus. I don't have to have the law. Right then, the Holy Spirit showed me I never gave them the law. And I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. And I went back and searched it out, and sure enough, he didn't.
So they don't know what they miss.
That's right. That's their judgment.
So if you tell them they don't accept it, there's no use condemning.
That's right, because that's their judgment on their own head.
Yeah.
But watch this. He sent a man before them, even Joseph, who was sold for a servant. Remember what I told you earlier about the seed of Joseph and the seed of Judah coming together in the last days.
Mm-hmm.
What is Joseph? What for one, starters, what does the word sold mean? It means sold out. We are sold out to Yahweh. We are his servant. No matter what the cost. We are promoting Yahshua no matter what the cost. But watch. Whose feet they hurt with fetters, he was laid in iron. In the last days, what is the last kingdom that will stand? Iron and clay. Joseph. Hello? This is prophecy, folks. This is the book of David, the book of Psalms. Now watch. Until the time that his word came. Go back through this whole chapter and really, really study it, and you'll learn a lot. Because it'll show you a lot of new stuff that you haven't seen before. The word of Yahweh tested him. I'm going to get back to this verse real quick. Because it really, when you understand it the way it's worded, you'll understand it a whole lot better. Or I should say the interpretation of it. He sent a man before them, verse 17, Joseph, who was sold out for a servant, whose feet they hurt with fetters, he was laid in America. Changed the meaning of it, didn't it? Watch. Until the time that his word came. Who is the word? Yahweh. Yahweh is the word.
That's
Is everybody following?
mm,
Watch. The word of Yahweh tested him. Is everybody following? The king sent and loosed him, even the ruler of the people. We just got done reading it, folks. The ruler set us free and let him go free. He made him master of his house, a ruler of all his substance. To bind his princes at his pleasure and teach his senators. Whoa, what? You mean I'm going to be teaching the government wisdom?
yeah. His kingdom all the way.
Did everybody else catch that?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be teaching the governments of this world wisdom. We're going to be advisors, counselors. Watch. Israel also came into Egypt. I'm sorry, what? 2 people came in Egypt? Did you just read what I read? Joseph was already there before Jacob came in. Nobody caught it. Joseph's already been there. Joseph's already in bondage. He already overcame bondage before Jacob came in. We went through the affliction and suffering first. Why? So when Jacob gets there, we can supply for him. They're following. Israel also came into Egypt. Why is it listed 2 different words?
Because Israel's the overcomers. Jacob couldn't overcome them.
Pay attention to the wording. Israel also came into Egypt, 2 straights. And Jacob sojourned in the land of Ham. What's the difference? Why did he mention Israel and Jacob in the same verse?
Because Israel came in as a teacher.
Israel came in to be a fire. Jacob sojourned. That means he enjoyed it. Is everybody following?
No.
Jacob desires living in Egypt. Everything's provided
He's
for.
satisfied.
Okay, now watch. He increased his people greatly and made them stronger than their enemies. He turned their heart to hate his people. Now, who did Egypt hate? Here's the key. Who did Egypt hate? Did he go after the Israelites, or was he going after Moses and Aaron? Moses and Aaron. He went after Israel. He didn't give a crap about Jacob.
That's what they're doing right now.
Is everybody following?
Yeah,
Okay? They do not give a crap. The enemy does not care about Jacob. He's still uncircumcised. He only cares about Israel, because Israel's the one that's going to rule over him. Is everybody following that? And that's what he doesn't want. Watch. He turned their heart to hate his people, to deal subtly with his servants. Oh, wait a minute, wait. Whoa. Back up. Who was his servant? Joseph. Are you with me? Now watch this. He sent Moses his servant. Oh. You mean Moses was of the seed of Joseph? But how could he be if he was the brother of Aaron, which was a Levite? Mm-mm. Spiritually, Moses was of Joseph. Okay? Because he served. Now watch. And Aaron, whom he had chosen, they showed his signs among them and wonders in the land of Ham. He sent darkness and made it dark. He sent ignorance and made it even more ignorant. Hello? That's what the word darkness means, is ignorance. The light shone in the darkness and it comprehended it not. Why did it comprehend it? Because it was ignorant. Okay. I will tell you this, and I'm not speaking this in ego or pride or anything like that. This has got to be the dumbest generation that has ever existed from the beginning of time till now. And I am not kidding. They know more about a cell phone and a computer than they do about history or language or anything else.
Or manners.
Well, manners too.
Put those on their face, made them face.
It's got nothing to do with it being in their face. It's got to do with darkness. That's darkness. All right, now watch this. He sent darkness and made it dark. They rebelled not. I want you to highlight that. They rebelled not against his word. But wait a minute. Aren't the Gentiles preaching today that they rebelled against his word? Watch this. He turned their waters into blood and slew their fish. Their land brought forth frogs in abundance. In the chambers of their kings he spake, and there came divers sorts of flies and lice in all their coasts. He gave them hail for rain, flaming fire in their land. He smote their vines also and their fig trees, and brake the trees of their coasts. He spake, and the locusts came, and caterpillars, and that without number. He did eat up all the herbs in their land. Oh, there goes all the pot. And devoured the fruit of their ground. He smote all the firstborn in their land. The chief of all their strength. He brought them forth also with silver and gold, and there was not one feeble among their tribes. There was none weak. They were spiritually strong. Now watch this. Egypt was glad when they departed. Woo! We got rid of them.
Good riddance.
We wanted them here to build our cities. Well, they're built. Watch. He was glad when they departed, for the fear of them fell upon them. He spread a cloud. Highlight this. He spread a cloud for a what? A covering. What's another word for a covering? Blindness. Okay, now wait a minute. He spread a cloud for a covering, a veil. What was the veil for? Because he saw that they were spiritually strong. Did that go over your head? In other words, he realized they were headstrong. Pride. We are the chosen people. Nobody's going to stand against us. Moses and Aaron, you're taking on too much for your own good. Now watch this. And a fire to give them light in the night. The people asked, and he brought quails and satisfied them with the bread of heaven. He opened the rock, and the waters gushed out. They ran in the dry places like a river, for he remembered his holy promise and Abraham his servant. He brought forth his people with joy, and his chosen with gladness. He gave them the lands of the heathen. Get ready to inherit their lands. They inherited, oh crap, the labor of the people. Think about this. If I'm going to inherit, let's say, Kenneth Copeland or Keith Moore's land, guess what I also inherit?
The people who's, yeah.
The people that's under him.
Mm-hmm.
That's more labor.
Yeah.
Now watch. That they might observe his statutes and do what?
Keep his word.
I'm going to read that again. What's the reason of labor?
Observe his statutes and keep his word.
So what's going to happen when all these churches go belly up? Doors closed for the final time. They're going to come unto us who know what? His law and his statutes. Praise you, Yah. Now watch. Limitation 4. We'll close on this one for now. Limitation 4. Everybody there? Verse 13. For the sins of her prophets. I have something to read to you guys. Remind me before you leave. I'll read it to you. The sins of her prophets, the lawlessness of her priests. Verse 13. The word iniquity is lawlessness. Alright? For the sins of her prophets, the lawlessness of her priests. Well, what does that mean, lawlessness? That means that their preaching the law has been thrown out. Is there everybody familiar with this? Because this was prophesied back in the prophets that they would do this. Now watch this. That have shed the blood of the just or the righteous in the midst of her. They have wandered as blind men in the streets. Does it say they were blind? Okay, as blind men, which means they were not blind. They could see very well. They were doing it on purpose. Is everybody following? They have polluted themselves with blood so that men could not touch their garments. Don't touch me. I'm holier than you are. Moses and Aaron, you're taking too much upon yourself. Is everybody following? They cried unto them, depart you, it is unclean. Depart, depart, touch not. When they fled away and wandered, they said among the heathen, they shall no more sojourn there. The anger of Yahweh hath divided them. What is the difference between Israel and Jacob? It's real simple. Anger divides them. It's Yahweh's wrath, Yahweh's anger that divides them. Let me explain. Because he sees the sins that you're in and the sins that I'm in, there is a fire that is kindled, and he said his wrath burns as a fire. Okay? And it kindles, and it separates between Jacob and Israel. So we're following. Jacob and Israel. Cut off the foreskin of the heart. Cut off the... I'm not going to get into that yet. That'll be next week. The anger of Yahweh hath divided them. He will no more regard them. They respected not the persons of the priests. They favored not the elders. As for us, our eyes as yet failed for our vain help. In our watching, we have watched for a Gentile that could not save us. Why is all the churches preaching looking for Jesus? A Gentile that cannot save.
Mm-hmm.
Is everybody following that? Jesus is a Gentile.
Mm-hmm.
It was a pagan god informed by the Gentiles. And even if you go, and I'm telling you this, if you go and take what they believe, their doctrine, and take it back to the Word, it's a whole separate character from what's written in the Word. He is a deity unto himself. All right? One guy said it perfectly clear. How could God be fully God, fully man, yet fully dead? When the spirit cannot die.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. It's not possible. But that's their doctrine, that eventually their God died and he had to resurrect. Well, not much of a God.
That meant he didn't have a God for 3 whole days.
That's right.
Yeah.
Think about that. But they think very little about who the Almighty is. Now watch. That's right. In our watching, we have watched for a Gentile that could not save us. They hunt our steps, that we cannot go in our streets. Our end is near. Our days are fulfilled. In other words, all the things prophesied about us come to pass. For our end is come. This is referring to Jacob, mind you. Jacob's end is getting ready to end. Or I should say the end of Jacob is getting ready. It's coming. Our persecutors are swifter than the eagles of the heaven. They pursued us upon the mountains. They laid wait for us in the wilderness. The breath of our nostrils, the anointed of Yahweh, was taken in their pits, of whom we said, under his shadow shall we live among the heathen. Let me explain this again. The breath of our nostrils, that means that what we breathe, the anointed of Yahweh was taken in their pits. Who can tell me what that is real quick? It's called resurrection of the dead. Do you not see it? Our nostrils, the breath from our nostrils went into their pits. Hello? Of whom we said, under his shadow shall we live among the heathen. Rejoice and be glad, O daughter of Edom, that dwellest in the land of Uz. The cup also shall pass through unto thee. Thou shalt be drunken and shalt make thyself naked. First of all, who is Edom? Okay. It is the tribe of Esau. Or I should say the seed of Esau. Now watch this. The punishment of thy lawlessness is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. I thought for a long time, wait a minute. So what's he saying? He's going to glorify Edom? And yet the lawlessness of Zion, he's going to judge. No, that's not what he's saying at all. You want to really know what he's saying? Edom and the daughter of Israel are going to trade sides. Edom is actually called the daughter of Zion. Is everybody following that? In other words, right now, who's in Israel? Edom. Esau. Hello? Why was it that the Philistines wanted to kill Israel? Because it was Esau's seed. Hello? They were wanting the inheritance that belonged to them.
That's what the battle's been all along.
That's what's been all along. Now watch this. The punishment of thy lawlessness is accomplished, O daughter of Zion. He will no more carry thee away into captivity. You mean up till now, the actual daughter of Zion's been in captivity? Yep. Laid in iron, the word says. He will visit thy lawlessness, O daughter of Edom. Whoa, wait a minute. Does that mean because of their breaking of the law in Israel today, he's going to judge them? Yeah. Watch this. He will discover thy sins. In other words, he's going to expose them for who they really are. He said, this is his own word, that his people would never perish, did he? If a nuke hits Israel today and they perish, what's that proof? Bingo. They were not his people. That's what it proves. They were not his people. Because his people live forever, the word says. Any questions? No?